Hello.
Good morning. Welcome.
Moderately peppy lips.
I know. Welcome to the sideshow.
The Sun Dragon Sideshow. The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca. And I'm gonna fix the camera because it bopped up a little bit.
Oops.
My fault. Hang on. Oh, my name tag's all askew too. But you can't read my name tag, people in the audience, so it doesn't matter, right?
It is humid out.
Is it?
It is. I'm all hot.
Ah.
And it's not because of the temperature, it's the humidity.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity. You're just trying to say that fancy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in sunny, but probably thunderstorming today, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
And before I sit down, I almost have forgotten about this because I left it here because I sewed all my ends in on this. It is glorious. It is lovely. It is a finished product now. This is my fading diamonds cardigan. And it fades on the way up. So as you're knitting it, things get more complex and you start knitting more complex things
It
towards the
just
bottom.
looks so cool.
Isn't it fun? It is my when the wind picks up where I get chilly outside, which is not going to happen for a little while because it's hot out. It is my summer cardigan because it is out of the Jody Long coastline, which is, let's see, it's a cotton viscose nylon linen blend. It's like, it's got puffy stuff in the tubing with an outer shell. And it's fun. It's like a worsted / bulky. Like I did this on a 9. I looked up a bulky pattern. And
the drape is fantastic.
The drape is fantastic. And you know, it totally hugs my butt. That's the drape right there. Anyway. So I'm gonna wear it as long as I can inside because it's too hot to wear it outside. But so I already had this cardigan finished. It's like, I don't need another cardigan. But this cardigan is a winter, this is Wool Addicts. It's a very fuzzy wool yarn. Wool Addicts is a brand name, but a lot of their yarns are wool, not all. And this one just felt hot against my skin. This one doesn't. It breathes against my skin, even if it's too hot outside to wear right now. So it took me, we figured this out with a customer who came in and said, I want to make that. It took me roughly 7 skeins of this type of yarn to make this. And a lot of that is the length of it. Yeah. I made a size 5 with my girls and a little bit my tummy. As I was saying I made a tips and tricks video this weekend on how to pick a size for the ranunculus. And I was saying, I'm a little thick. I'm not overly, but I'm stout in my center section. And so between the girls and that, I pick a decent size for myself. I forget how big the torso, the chest size of this was supposed to be, but it fits really nicely. I did the shorter length of the sleeves. It's funny because right now I feel like they're hanging at different lengths, but I did the exact same thing on both of them. So no, okay, that's about the same. Yep. These are left over from each sleeve because the shorter length of the sleeve, I started with new skeins for each one. So I had fewer ends to weave in, but this is all I have left from my 3 skeins, my 7 of 3 skeins. This is what I have left of the 7 total, right? And 2 of them were ones I'd ripped out of a project I started that I didn't finish. So I'm gonna see
how much you have.
How much I have. Like, is this a whole skein? I don't think it is. That means that yarn chickening, maybe I could have used 6. So, okay, I have, well, this is 26 grams. This is enough for a minion bag of mystery.
It is.
Because we use 25-gram balls, cakes, 5 of them. So 26, 27, that makes sense because it's about the same, right? So that's for
almost, well, it's over 50, 53.
It's like 50, yeah. Says the one who doesn't like math.
I don't.
I forced to do a lot of math. This is only 10 grams. So this is about 60 grams. And so the 7 skeins was still needed, right? This isn't enough to say, hey, let's use 6 instead. And I creatively did it so that I had fewer ends to weave in rather than just starting and stopping. I could have had half of a skein left if I kept, starting with the end of one, going to another, but then I would have had a lot more ends to weave in, I think. I like having one for each sleeve. But yes, 7 skeins of yarn for this, and it was about 218 yards per ball. It's written for a bulky weight yarn, of which this kind of is, but true bulky yarns, if you get wool, may not have as much yardage on each skein, so you might need more. So always do the math is my answer on that. So but I didn't touch this all weekend. I left it here to put on, and you have all this stuff in front of you.
We're gonna
talk about the weekend and things and stuff, and yes,
Finish this after Tuesday.
Yes, you've been like weaving in ends like all week.
Yes.
I want to say you finished it Wednesday or Thursday. Like the crocheting stuff of it.
I finished it, I think Wednesday.
You were jogging back and forth between weaving ends in and finishing. Yeah. So notice she didn't start in this because we didn't want her to get too hot.
It's warm.
Oh, I run colder than her, so.
There we go.
This has a pattern online. That does not.
not.
Liz created this. Isn't it pretty? Yeah. You got a little puckery. Yeah. Okay. Ta-da! Crochet and knit in harmony. Yay. I like it. What do you want to say about it, Liz?
I used 2 balls of this color, but I still have like half a ball left.
And
I have most of a ball of all the other.
What is it?
What is it?
For people who may not
fiber
remember.
space.
Mhm.
Because
y'all are watching us every day and taking notes, right? That's how you know. It's fiber space vivacious 4-ply.
Yes. And
the fingering weight.
I used like 8 different colors.
Yes. And the one in her skirt is sea glass. It's very pretty. It is like both vintage and new and fun. And please don't ask her how to make one for yourself, because I
didn't write anything down. I wasn't going to write anything down. All I can tell you is these are sunburst granny squares. And then
do they call that that in the magazine?
Not in the magazine, but I found a granny square pattern for it. It's just slightly different. Like there's a chain somewhere else. But it's a common granny square. So
sunburst style granny squares.
Yep. And then, crocheted and knit, and yay.
She had fun with it. So can you turn around for us to see the back? Yeah. Oh, it looks nice in the back. Yes. Cool. Very cool.
It was fun. I finished weaving in ends.
Do you have a lot left over of the other colors?
I do.
Because I'm thinking with the thing I'm making from the pom-pom cover, I may have a lot left over from the things that are more modular like that. But I'm burning through the oatmeal color that I have, which you have in yours too. Yeah. It's the lightest color in yours. So use a skein and a half of the sea glass, and then partial skeins of all the other colors. So.
And I've figured out what I'm going to do with all my leftovers. I'm going to do the log cabin shawl in the leftover events.
The log cabin shawl is our September crochet along. I need to get back to that and figure out what I'm doing with that at some point. It's really fun, and it's very modular, and it's once you get big enough, you start having to make choices about what yarn to use where, because you can't make full blocks anymore because they're really big. You either have to cannibalize a lot more yarn, or we're figuring that out. That one's going to be hard to make kits for,
because it like I've got the scrappy one going, and then I'll have this one, but the scrappy one is everything from fingering all the way to worsted, and they're and the scraps I'm using are like 25 gram balls, and there are blocks that I'm not getting completely through because I don't have enough yarn. So it's all scrappy. This all the colors that I have from this, and I might have gotten a few more colors just to add other pops of color because you can't go wrong mixing any of the Fiber Spades colors. Like
that's the thing though, it
they all
is
go well together.
I snagged my yarn, that's okay. It's hard to take something that needs certain amounts of yarn and make it scrappy, because there's a chance that in a certain block you will run out of your scraps. Or when you plan this, like you have that one shawl that you planned, but you bought yarn for and it ended up being very expensive because you had to buy yarn for all of it. So something to think about.
If that bothers you that your whole block isn't the same color, you're going to wind up investing more than if you just take a bag of scraps and say, I really don't care if blocks
or like
change.
the bigger blocks might end up being stripy. That might be what I end up doing with my rainbow log cabin. We'll see. I kind of have to get back to that, figure that out. Before that though, we have the August one. I really should finish it. Are you already too hot?
I'm already warm.
The August knit along is the Brioche Bandana Cowl, and because I have so many projects going, I want to finish this. I'm only so far into it myself. I haven't gotten to the flat part yet. I do have dreams and hopes and ambitions of making kits for this, either fingering weight, DK, or bulky sometime this week. It all depends on what time permits. I know that August is next week, so I am very cognizant of that. But I also am cognizant of my mental health, my physical health and all that. And mine, I'm about halfway through. She wants like 40 plus rows of the fingering weight in the round before you do the bottom part. And I'm about halfway through that. If I dedicate some time to it, I bet I could totally get there. This was morning meditation for me this morning. I am using the shop colorways from Yarn Baby of The Mountains Are Calling, based on the Blue Ridge Mountains, and White Squirrel Shuffle. We got more in of the white. We have two different dye lots in many ways of the White Squirrel Shuffle. They're both here on the table. Oh, you want to do that? Okay. Doesn't show up on camera.
Not really.
But the original White Squirrel Shuffle has very subtle speckle in it. Like it might not even show up on camera that there's a little bit of speckle in it. And the new version, what I'm calling 2.0, I need to get pictures of it up online, has heavier speckle. So there's lighter and heavier. So we're calling them different versions of the same thing. We just got in, we were totally out of Mountains Are Calling. This is our new batch of it. It looks a little different every time, but it's got the lovely colors. I am loving how it's pooling on the inside. Technically this is the inside, but with brioche it should be reversible. I'm loving how this color is kind of pooling and running up after itself on this side. I think it's really cool. If I dig out my my socks made out of this, it again different. They're both different dye lots, but they when it's an indie dyer, it's not really lots, it's batches. But even skein to skein, the batches can look different. Let me see if I can grab. This is totally buried in here, but this is how The Mountains Are Calling is knitting up in my socks. We do not have pooling. We just have, it's all over busy. Different size needle, different number of stitches, different technique. I think that's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I love the bright green in that.
Right, like, the bright green and the pink, and the pink on this one kind of like blended with some of the other colors. So there's some orangey in the new batch. It's funny because the bright green in this one, it's more of a grello in this one. It's like we can't guarantee what you're going to get if you order from us online, but know it will be beautiful and pretty and remind you of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So and yes, doing different things with variegated yarn, it's going to look different, and different batches, different techniques, just kind of have to roll with it. But this one, I'm really excited for brioche. Squish, squish, squish. We only have one spot left in our brioche class, like 2-part class that, excuse me, coffee, that we're doing for locals. Oddly enough, I don't have anyone signed up for this class yet, and I don't know if I'm going to. The Dottie is like super, super popular in the shop. People go, ooh, I want to make that, ooh, but no one signed up for it yet. So if there's enough demand for brioche and no one has signed up for this yet, by the time, if we fill that and there's still interest, if we fill the brioche class and there's still interest in it, I might end up turning this class into another brioche class. Like, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. And I know for many of you who aren't local, who are watching this, you're like, why should I care? I'm just letting people know. So I wish I had the energy and time to do virtual classes, but I have found those are twice as challenging as in-person ones. And we can't do them when the shop is open because doing in-person classes here, I'm available for help. And it's just too noisy and hard to jump up and help. And there's lots of reasons why virtual classes when the shop is open aren't as functional. So that's why I make so many videos for the YouTube channel, hoping that can at least get you part of the way there if you are far away. I'm planning on making more brioche, kind of like brioche 2.0 videos. I already have brioche videos on the tips and tricks channel with pictures and drawings and doing some quick ones with just the yarn and just the project is my goal. And then if you need the drawings to help, I'll reference you to those. Anyway, so you have really cool big fat bobbins in front of you. What's up with that?
Dude, so this weekend I was like, I'm gonna spin on Sunday and I'll find something to do on Monday.
Something to do.
And I decided I don't want to knit. I don't want to crochet. I don't want to sew. I'll spin yarn. So, and the phone.
We're ignoring the phone because it's only 9:30.
So I spun almost
put my hair back up
completely
while she's
3
talking.
8-ounce bobbins of
those are huge.
It's all leftover Rolex with pearl fiber from my hair.
Mm-hmm.
So all the colors match a couple of different
leftovers
flavors
from your hair. Okay.
Yeah, these I didn't felt down. So I'm going to ply them all together and probably make hair with them. But
yeah,
you know, it'll look like yarn.
Different types of hair with them, right?
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I did that.
So do you have a bigger machine? Because I know you brought in like a bobbin.
I brought in my nano.
A nano thing. See, I don't even know
the
right terminology.
2-ounce bobbins. And
this is so not gonna work. Oh well. Yes. Sorry.
Anyway, this is off of my electric eel wheel 6.
Okay. And that's one you have at home.
It's the bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't run off of a phone charger. So I leave it at home. My nano runs off of a phone charger. So I can set it up outside and
that's cool.
Spin. So I'm probably doing that today too, because I brought in fiber and bobbins. Bernie goes, are you gonna drop stuff off by the car or by the front before you
that's why I came
lug it all in? And I was like, oh no, I'm probably gonna lug it all in. And I had to rearrange a few things, but
you lugged?
I lugged.
I missed that. I got here after she lugged.
I had a shop bag, my basket, another bag. I had so much stuff.
That's why I brought in. So what I did over the weekend is one of the things I did over the weekend. I was trying to do a messy bun, just to squirrel for a second, and that's totally not going to work. So I'm trying a tighter bun. I cleaned out and organized a couple rooms in my house, like my kitchen and the upstairs bedroom that I don't occupy, that really is for Avi and leftover junk, and my loft space. And it's still a work in progress, but I was able to, I had to just take a big yarn barf of Tangle and just cut the edges of it. So this yarn barf got thrown out, and then the things that were no longer tangled into it, I could bring here into the shop. So, I had a whole garbage bag of things I threw out, and then I have some unfinished projects with yarn that we really don't carry anymore that I'm going to try to save the needles from. And the rest of this is full of yarn that we can use for mini bags of mysteries. It's either leftovers from projects of yarn that's still in the shop or leftovers from projects of stuff that's not in the shop anymore, but we used to carry and or that we're moving out. And the mini bags of mystery are awesome because in the shop, they're in sealed bags. You don't know what you're getting. If you order online, same thing, you won't know until you get it. And you can ask us. Sometimes we used to put like notes in the ones we sent out to people, and we don't always have time for that anymore. But you get little 25-gram samples of 5 different yarns. So you get 125 grams of yarn for $10. And it can be fun if you just want a sample pack. Like it could be a yarn tasting, although a lot of it's yarn at this point, yarn we may not have a lot of in the shop anymore. So you're not necessarily sampling yarn you might want to buy from us later, but you are getting like a fun variety of yarns to play around with, to add as you know,
we have
highlights to things.
One knitter, shout out to Carol, who buys them she's going to do a scrappy something because, you know,
always contributes to a scrappy
$10 for 125 grams.
Mm-hmm.
And so like,
sometimes it's different thicknesses and different fibers.
I tried
and
to
different,
keep them all within the same weight category per bag, but
well, and it's interesting because different people are going to want different things. Some people will be super excited if it's like just different colors of the same yarn, and some people will be bummed out because they wanted a variety of everything. And with those, with our Surprise Me sale bin support boxes, those are more coordinated full skeins of yarn often. Of that you could maybe make a project out of. There's no project included. That's sale yarn is 50% off if you buy it in a bundle.
Yeah.
And the minion bags of mystery are more, they're just little samplings that Liz pulls together. Now she's got lots of fodder for that because I cleaned out my house. The yarn in my house that's not shop related all went into a trunk or into like bins on top of the trunk because I have so much of it. But I consolidated and organized, and you can see the floor in a couple of rooms now. That's my big adventure for the weekend.
I have a story-ish.
Okay. Squirrel.
Yes, squirrel. I told Mom it was going into today's episode.
Uh-oh.
So I'm talking to my mom, and she's making these cute little fabric bunnies. Some of them are small and some of them are big. And Mom goes,
so wait, is it she's sewing them and stuffing them?
Sewing them and stuffing them. So they're fabric, cutest little bunnies. They've got long floppy ears. And Mom goes, we're talking, and she had shown me the bunnies like this over the past few weeks. And she goes, I have to show you something. And I'm like, okay. And it's this bunny in a proper little dress with a sweater over and a button at the top of the sweater. And Mom goes,
is this like a picture she's showing? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if she had like a model in the house.
No, okay. Nope. It's a picture of
I'm clarifying questions
of her future ideas for her bunnies.
Yes.
And she goes, I can make the clothes, but I want a sweater. And Dad said I should learn how to make a sweater. And I said, no, I've got somebody for that. And I said, what? And she said,
excuse me? What?
Yeah. She goes, so here's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, Mom, that's not a link to a product or to a pattern I can buy. You have to find, you know. And she's like, I was like this one, and she goes,
you could just make it up, right?
That's for a 9-inch bunny, and my bunny is 7 inches or 12 inches. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. And Mom goes, you can make it out of whatever color you want to. And I'm like, how do you feel about black?
I don't think that's what her vision was.
No, it's not what her vision is. But she wants multiple little itty bitty sweaters. They don't have to be very long, Liz. And I'm like, Mom, do you realize what goes into knitting tiny? I said, I can't use circular needles. She goes, it's like a baby sweater. I said, no, it's not.
It's smaller. How many babies do you know that are 7 inches?
Yeah, it was.
Except for maybe when they come out as a preemie.
Yeah. I was like, Mom, we're talking the sweater's only like 1.5 inches long, but the sleeves need to be like 3 inches long. And she wants a cardigan. Of course she does. I
Which
don't like
technically-
cardigans
which
because there's
technically
purling.
can be knit flat. Well, maybe she'll just have to get a garter cardigan.
There's some with
There's gotta be
garter.
some kind of-
There's like
There's got to be some kind of middle ground
w-
to reach if you are going to do this for her.
it's
I-
not an if at this point. I have
know, I'm
already
trying to be
been
gracious. Like
eh,
when it's your mom, it's not if, it's when. I
Yeah,
get it. I
yeah.
understand.
and can I do a whole bunch of little scarves, you know, that you wrap around their neck once or twice and they hang all the way down to their feet. And I was like,
Okay, I okay. What comes to mind as people to I can think of two people you should talk to who might be helpful or be able to tell you what patterns they use to modify. You know, shout out to both Pam and Kathleen.
yes.
Because Kathleen does bunnies and Pam has done mini sweaters recently. But again, it will probably not be a one size fits. When she texted me this yesterday, right? My text back involved, there were two texts back that I sent, and one was basically like, it is so hard. This is just a in general statement. It is so hard to convince someone who doesn't knit the time and energy it takes to knit things.
Yeah. Cause mom was like, it'll be like a 5-minute project.
Said no knitter ever.
I was
Um,
like, no.
When someone doesn't knit, to try to help them understand how long it takes to knit things is kind of impossible. And then my follow-up was, especially when it's something small. Like I had senior advisees my last year teaching, I said, and they were all graduating and I was leaving teaching, and I was like, I will make you something for graduation. Pick something small. And then so like half of them picked socks or fingerless gloves. And yes, those are smaller than this, but done on teeny tiny needles with teeny tiny yarn takes just as long. I know some of you out there can relate to us. So, yes.
I asked mom how long it took her to do her bennies, and she
'Cause
was
she's
like, "Oh, they
sewing
were."
them.
Yeah, but
Sorry, go ahead.
the same thing with sewing. When you get down to tiny little bits, it's actually kind of awkward. Like
Mhm.
people are like, "Ooh, make doll clothes because you sew," and I was like, no, because you basically have to take the presser foot off of your sewing machine if
The
you
little teeny tiny stuff.
yeah, we're talking, you know, circumference. Like she's gonna do clothes, like dresses and stuff for her bunnies. She's gonna sew them. And I was like, she'll figure it out, because teeny tiny things take just as much time as my big things. So she's
I
going
would like to see her
hand sew a
feedback then,
lot.
because I'm sure the bunnies don't take her quite, you know,
the
like I make quilts, or I used to, and those would come together so much faster than knitting a blanket. But they're not, there are things in sewing that take just as long, if not longer, than knitting. There's just, it's hard to, it's apples and oranges, even though it's all crafting, it's kind of apples and oranges to make.
and
assumptions.
when you shrink the craft,
Yeah.
like if you were
it
doing
always gets more
micro
complicated.
quilting
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you were, you know,
Yeah.
same thing. There was one pattern set that had Farrell sweaters for the little tiny bunnies, and I was like, no.
Farah,
No. She goes, well, maybe if it's Christmas. And I said, no. No.
I would say, is that all you want for Christmas? One sweater for a
That's
bunny,
like this
that's
big.
Farah. Then maybe.
No. Nope. Nope.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So, okay. We'll keep you updated on that.
We had a
You wanna show off your Impasta Papillon?
we had a comment
We did.
on Thursdays, and I replied back to it about are the short rows showing up on my Papillon? And they are, if it's laying flat and the
If we
light's
shine
shining on
like
it.
bright light on it, like you all at home will not probably see this.
Oh.
And you might see some of it there. If I shone a light on it, maybe. Let me see if this has any light left in it. Like, I can see where the you know,
Yeah.
there are holes that kind of go at funky angles, like right in here. Yes. Oh, ooh, there we go. Can you see it? Yeah, you have to be looking at the direction of the stitches to see, but I see right behind, let me see if I, no, I can't really. I see some red and orange squares right there behind the pole.
Yep.
Because I know what I'm looking at. and we can see it's the directionality of the stitches, which I think is kind of cool. So, so yes, but you have to know what you're looking for. But your other comment,
the rest of the comment was she was thinking about doing it in a variegated yarn. And I think the variegations would show up with the, stripes. I was even thinking it would look cool in like your forest.
Yeah. Oh, the mountains are calling.
Yeah.
So this is the cowl with a variegated yarn and a white contrast, but you can see like the variegation, it's kind of all over busy, but you can see like if I was doing the contrast with the same variegated yarn, you would still see clumps of variegation going in different directions. So you'd see something going on with it. It would be intriguing.
It like, well, or like just doing one all over in Perth, you get the chunks of color and then, but it, it's all what's the
still
look
get
you're looking for.
The shifting of colors and kind of the waving of things. You just wouldn't have the pop.
Yeah.
So
which, some people are cool with, and some people
are
it's
like,
an impasse papillon. It is taking a little bit more minding of my pattern because I have to know, did I do that contrast row? Did I do or 2 rows, because
and it helps
I'm not
with that
changing
stitch count.
Yeah, I don't
counting stitches a whole lot. Well, see, and here's what, when I'm counting to double check, and I tend to do that after every if not every once in a while increase row. So okay, 2 ways I could check stitch count on the Papillon. One is I might count the whole thing, but I often will count just the little extra bits because I know between my stitch markers, if everything's going right, those are sets of 10. So I'll count the bits on the end and the bits in the center. And if that number comes out with the same last number as the stitch count's supposed to be, so it's a 5 or it's a 7, if that number is correct, I will assume my stitch count for the whole thing is correct. I will be like, okay, I'm at, it's supposed to be 185 right now. And I've got a 5 with my leftovers. So that means it's probably on track. The other way I will check when I'm doing a bubble, like Liz is just like, pray tell.
I don't
I have count. that look from her face.
I only count if it's messed if something up.
Well, and so this is the other way I check. It's not necessarily counting, but 9 times out of 10, where you knit to start doing one of your back and forths is either going to be at a stitch marker, like even with the end bits or the center bit, it's going to start or end at a stitch marker if things are on track. Or the red squares are going to be 2 stitches away from a stitch marker. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going to say, wait a minute, where did I get wrong? And usually that happens soon enough after something going wrong. You don't have to rip back too much or fudge too much. So yes, that's the other way I do it. So yeah. Anyway,
I just don't like counting.
Well, I don't know. Well, I was about to say nobody does. I'm sure there are a few people out there who really Jones on counting, who really, it knocks their socks off, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of people who find it very tedious, I know. So any way to check is really good.
And there is the sheet with the, how many should be on this row.
There's the sheet right in the beginning that usually makes most people go, what is this? I'm not doing this pattern. It's not the instructions for the pattern, but it is a way to check your stitch count. I mean, the Papillon has multiple ways in, like multiple stitch counts inside it at almost every section, at every section to check your stitch count. The front page where I find it's really helpful is if your stitch markers get off or they fall off, or if you rip back and have to put them back on, that front page tells you where to put your stitch markers starting at one edge. And so your 10s are in the right spot and your center is in the right spot. And like, it can totally save your butt at times.
When I do the moth middle with the yarn overs, and everything, I use that page to make sure
'Cause
my
the stitch
markers
markers,
haven't
like-
shifted.
And we've had customers and clients who we've worked with that the stitch markers will hop even if it's not with the yarn
Yeah.
overs. The stitch markers just jump and that helps straighten things out. So all right, what else? I just want to go over a few more things. Progress.
Sorry, I squirreled.
Don't be sorry. People find that entertaining, I've heard, when we just talk about random stuff. I have to get this in. We got 10 minutes till the shop opens, and I just want to get in some fun things that I worked on this last week. I know I should is a shame word. I ought to probably still shaming myself, but using different vocabulary. This is my Montana bag that I made, and the month is almost over, and I'm like halfway done, maybe not even. I'll get back to that. I have too many projects on needles, so I'm hoping to finish this one. At least I finished my other one. Did not weave ends in, but whatever. So, speaking of bags, I got back to this. My issue with this one, this is the Decima that is inside our latest pom-pom. My issue with making progress on this one, I started with a super teeny tiny hook, and then I restarted. I did I started this on too small of a hook. I mean, it wasn't too small, but it's a little challenging to work with. Then I started this side with a C, which was bigger. So I ripped this out and restarted this side with a C. This side has some really fun texture on it. They're both about the same size. I've done a little bit more with the blue. I'm imagining, because let's see how much I have left of this. I'm imagining it's probably going to take 2 skeins of these 2 colors. Well, I've got about half of this left. I don't think I'm halfway through the side of my bag. These are going to go inside each other to be reversible, and I'm going to use a bright green for the top part. I'm loving this. Progress is slow, even though it's crochet, because I really need to focus on what I'm doing when I'm working on this, and that means like not watching a TV show that I actually have to pay attention to, or not doing it during knit night because it takes too much focus, or not doing it at the shop because we have to hop up and help people a lot.
You can't
So
randomly just put it down.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
I can, but it's hard. And like when new episodes of new shows come out, I won't be watching. I will miss things because I will be looking at this. However, if I'm watching, say, old Castle episodes where I know what's going on, then I can work on this. So, and then there's when my cat like sits on this and I have no access to it, so I'm not working on it. But I'm excited that is going, and I'm doing it out of Juniper Moon Farm Zoe, and it's nice and rough when it's crocheted that tight. So I think it's going to be a good texture for a bag. Like I wouldn't make something against my skin with this.
It will soften
that
up.
tight. Oh, I know, but I think it's actually going to hopefully be pretty durable as a bag.
Yeah.
I would do this on something much bigger to do something nice for a shawl or something against my skin. But I'm loving how it feels for like, it's going to be a nice heavy bag. I like that. So, but that's because I'm crocheting with a C hook. I am smaller than 3 millimeters with that. Yeah. So, I'm okay. Let's 2 more things from me. I was gonna, 3, but I probably won't show you one today. Depending on time. I feel like we don't have time. So, I finished my Mina's vanilla sock recipe. I have 2 socks. Da-da!
Yay!
Totally done. Don't have the ends woven in, but that's just doesn't count to me. It counted for the sweater a little bit because it feels more finished. I'll eventually sew these ends in, but these are my cousin socks because where this one ended, I just started the next one. So the stripes, if I do this match. Anyway, I did a video also yesterday about Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off for this. I have this much yarn left. I am curious. Oh, you're crapping me. This says I have 50 grams left. This says I only used half the skein to make these socks. I feel like there's something wrong with that. No, it's zeroed, right? Well, now it's not. Okay, maybe I have Tare 0, you little, yeah. Carol's here. Yeah,
Still have 50
I
grams.
mean,
Wow.
the label probably weighs a little bit, but I wasn't gonna make myself a whole nother. Now I feel like I have a challenge to at least make anklet socks out of this for myself. Because these will probably be store socks. But I thought I might have enough left of this to make another pair of socks if I do different toes and heels. I might have enough to make. We tell people 100 grams of this sock yarn is enough to make an average pair of socks. I would call this an average pair of socks. And I have just under half of a skein left. That's insane.
What needle size did you use?
Oh, that's true. I used a 1.5. I used the bigger end of what I would use for needles. So I used a 1.5. That might have helped them stretch a little further. My happy place for socks are zeros because it's a really tight fabric. That Liz makes a very good point. That will use up more yarn.
Needle size, gauge. There are so many things that go in. So like if you wind up with half a skein, yay. If you don't, everybody's knitting is different.
True. I have done just a little bit more on this sweater that I just started. I'm not going to try to put this on today because we need to go. The other thing I wanted to show y'all is, but I wanted to, okay, trying to multitask and I shouldn't. Here is how the Vivo is on sale until we put something else on sale tomorrow. Here is how the natural colorway, again, product of the week with spaces, is the code. Here's how the supernatural, I'm forgetting what color this is right now. Dewdrop, thank you. Dewdrop is knitting up. I think that's gorgeous. Look at that. I was gonna try on my ranunculus for y'all. I did that in the video I made yesterday. I am to my elbow with the and I have tons of yarn left for that sleeve of the 15 grams. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do a lacy, like, again, depends on how long it takes me. I'm probably gonna do something that has stockinette down to at least here, and then I might do a really long section of ribbing, and I might do the ribbing in the same needle in the 10, so it looks extra flowy. I'm not going to make it tighter. I'm going to keep it flowy. I don't think I'm going to at this point I don't think I'm going to make it flare, but I think by its very nature of being straight it will look like it's flaring. That's my hope for that. I won't show y'all today because we should go, but lots of progress on lots of little things. And part of me is going, but I need to make more progress, but I'm making lots of progress on lots of little things. So, all right, we have sit and stitch tonight, virtual online on Zoom with the shop phone number from, hang on for a second, from 7 to 9 p.m. Shop phone number is
828-877-3550.
And that 7 to 9 p.m. is East Coast time in the US if you'd like to join us. Tomorrow we have the VSC edition we'll be filming. We'll put something else on sale. So if you want Vivo, get it today, which is Tuesday. This is Tuesday, July 26th. We are coming up on our 5-year anniversary. This Thursday.
On Thursday. Yes.
This Thursday is the first day we were in business 5 years ago. That's crazy. So Thursday we'll have Dear Becky and Lizzie. If you'd like to ask us questions about stuff that we will try to answer from our own experience, at this point, you would want to email
Liz@sundragonartandfiber.com.
And then we have another virtual sit and stitch on Friday. Same time on Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Same shop phone number to get in. So we got to go. It's very good to see you. Contact us with questions. We've had a lot of people either needing special orders or trying to use gift cards, and there's glitches with the online system. When in doubt, don't push buy. If something seems off, contact the shop and we will figure it out. We are here Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. And yes, you can always email me with non-questions for the show, like for the advice column show, but just questions about business type stuff. It's Rebecca@sundragonartandfiber.com. My name's spelled Rebecca. I think if you email info@sundragonartandfiber.com, it will get to me too. So Anyway, we gotta go. We got stuff happening outside. We got packages to mail. There's other things happening in life. We'd love to hang out with y'all all day. Just put us on repeat in the background and just go back and watch old episodes, and then we'll see you tomorrow. So
Like, subscribe, ring the
yes.
bell, Patreon, all the fun stuff.
we are hovering right near 1,130. We dropped to 29.
I know.
You think we
I
dropped?
I
We
have
dropped one.
have a
Come
reason.
on. Yeah, she thinks a friend's messing with us, but subscribe, do things to help the algorithms, or go to patreon.com/sundragon if you would like to monetarily support us and get some swag after a couple months, 3 months to be exact. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.